Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Shadows Maw. I am your host, Marcus Shadow, and joining me tonight for the review, I have Chriz, aka The Mole, from the Mole Hole.
And hello.
Thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
So tonight we're going to talk about Jurassic World. That's right, Shadows Maw is actually topical for once. Shock and awe.
Well, it would have been topical a couple of weeks back when it was, highest grossing, but...
True, unfortunately, I was not in the country at that time. So we're talking about it now. I saw it last week. I think you saw like opening weekend, didn't you, Mo?
I think so. Yeah, I think I saw it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that would have been opening weekend. Fair enough. So the story of Jurassic World, this is like, was it 22 years later, I think they said, after the first
Yep.
one. The park is open now. They kind of retconned Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 because those were kind of shit.
They didn't reckon them.
Then I thought they kind of retconned them.
No?
Okay, I had heard they did. But they did put references into them. Like, are we going to do spoilers, or what do you think, Mo? What do you think we should do with that?
That's up to you. I assume we'd kind of have to, or we can't talk about much.
True. But, okay, fine then. That I agree. But yeah, like, at the end, with the T-Rex thing, like, when he comes walking into the park, he crashes through a Spinosaurus skeleton.
Yep.
Which I thought was kind of like ooh, you just did you just basically middle finger the third movie. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, they didn't retcon it. It's just movies 2 and 3 happened on a different island.
True.
But they still happened though.
Fair enough. Yeah, basically the park is open now. It's 22 years later, so they have better technology. Of course, still dinosaurs. When are you guys gonna learn? Not a good idea. But so it's on Island Nublar, the island of the first Jurassic Park, and they open the park and shit happens really quick.
I have to say, dinosaurs did not go wrong in this movie.
No, mankind went wrong in this movie.
This movie was perfectly fine, and they were perfectly well, and had a great business going, just having people go see the dinosaurs. Then
True.
They went and ruined it by making something different.
Yeah, because as they put, and I kind of, this was kind of clever what they did in terms of the motivations, because it's almost a social commentary where they're like, people are getting tired of dinosaurs. They want something newer, better, more vicious. And I'm like, that almost sounds like the movie industry. It's like, yeah, the old timey campy stuff is good, but we want something darker and grittier and new. It's like, what?
See, I saw that more of realistic, because it's meant to be 20 years since Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
Give or take a few years for them to get the park up and running again, with how long Jurassic World's meant to have been established there, and like the kids like, oh cool, we're going to Jurassic World, like Disney World.
True.
You kind of like with Disney World, they always have to do new attractions, and it says it all when the first film 20 years ago, when bringing dinosaurs to life was something new, it was like that opening that opening bit where they look and like, oh my god, a dinosaur, and you just see them. This one, kids are riding little baby triceratopses in a petting zoo, because that's logically how it would have gone. It would have gone from whoa to, okay, I've seen that.
True. Very true.
I love the little baby triceratops.
Yeah, the petting zoo is cool. One thing I absolutely loved about this movie is not only did they decide to go with open theme parks, so you have lots of innocents around, but it felt like a theme park when they showed it off. They did the big wide shot and then they were showing all the different exhibits. It felt like Walt Disney World for dinosaurs, which it's not an easy thing to get right, that feeling, I feel. And they got it right with that.
Yep.
But yes, you have the two main kids. They're brothers. They're fucking awesome. We'll get into the characters later. But you have the two brothers who are sent to Jurassic Park to spend time with their aunt, who doesn't spend enough time with family. Which I kind of have to say, fuck the mother. I don't know if you agree, but
Why?
I understand you want your sister to spend more time with your kids, but number one, she runs a multi-billion-dollar genetic theme park. And, she kind of has to keep her job, lady. And unfortunately, since she's like the director of the whole thing, kind of a high-stress job and kind of, keeps you busy a lot, especially when you're dealing with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
And it's
but like it was implied, it wasn't about, oh, you need to spend time with my kids. The parents are going through a divorce. If the kids are there, it can mess them up. So they sent them to spend time with the aunt because she needs to spend a little bit more time with them, and so they wouldn't be around that hostile environment, which is the best thing for the kids.
Oh, no, I'm not saying fuck the mother for sending the kids there. I'm saying fuck the mother for how she treated her sister. Because I'm like, she runs a multi-billion-dollar theme park. You didn't even give her a chance to explain, and you probably didn't care that, oh yeah, and by the way, my boss, who runs a multi-trillion-dollar company, is going to be at the theme park. I kind of have to prioritize him to keep my job. I'm just like, I kind of felt bad for Claire, because I'm like, you could tell she loves the kids and stuff, but it's like she kind of has to prioritize work, especially if you're sending the kids to spend time with your sister at her place of employment. Sorry, she's at her place of employment. That kind of has to come first.
Which, yeah, like I said, with that situation though, neither one was right or wrong, because the mother was trying to do what's more important for the family, which is a strong, important thing.
True.
And with the aunt, she didn't care about the nephews until during the film. She learnt to care because, as she kind of gave the line of, I was basically mentioning that she wouldn't have kids someday. I mean, it says it all when they introduce them to him. She goes, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen you since you were about this high. What's that, like 3 years ago?" And he's like, "It was 7."
True.
Which means she hasn't even phoned him or spoke to him or saw him in 7 years.
True.
Yeah, she's kind of in her own little place, which makes sense. It's like I said,
Yeah.
neither one's wrong, which is perfect because as a result, every character in this is likable.
True. I don't know. I didn't like the mother that much, but then again, she didn't do much because she was there at the beginning and at the end, and that was it. And occasionally, like, her voice was there because phone call, but aside from that, she wasn't actually there. Um, I don't know. I felt really bad for Claire, because I'm just like, she kind of had these kids thrust upon her at her place of employment. I'm just like, yeah. I mean, I can understand what the mother was trying to do, and like you said, yeah, she was kind of out of touch, but at the same time, she's the director of Jurassic fucking Park.
World.
Well, it's the same place, but yeah, World. Um, and it's like,
And I'm gonna have to
number
point
one,
out it's
yes,
not the same place because, as the woman pointed out in the film, when the guy wore the Jurassic Park top, people died during that. That's disrespectful.
yeah, and as the guy mentioned, I believe he wore it in honor of them, in memoriam of that, which I'm like, thank
No,
you.
I was on about the guy who was like putting the dinosaurs on his desk and
Yeah,
had Jurassic Park. He wasn't wearing it for that. He mentioned he even apologized to her. He just bought it because he thought it was cool off eBay and it was a Jurassic Park t-shirt. And she's like, "That's really distasteful." He's like, "Oh, sorry." Which
fair enough.
I just love the fact they threw that out there so people wouldn't be
Yeah,
like, well, people died in the first one. Really? People have just got over it? I'm like, they've rebranded themselves. That's how companies work.
true.
But yeah, I agree. She shouldn't have the kids thrust upon her at her place of employment. But
Right.
if she worked at, say, McDonald's, that would be completely different to a big family resort where the kids can go, spend time and stuff like that. And when the aunt had like breaks or something, she could visit them. But she
She
didn't. She just
could.
hired a nanny and just thrust them away and didn't care about them for most of it until things went scary when she learned to get over that and stuff, which was great character development.
It is, but she didn't have any breaks because she was working the whole time. She had to go do that meeting with her boss, with the president of the company, and then from there, the shit went down, and she basically had to do her job.
For 7
I
years.
agree, and then she probably intended. What's that?
For 7 years.
No. I was talking about for that day, but for 7 years, the thing too. And I don't know. Maybe I just am more sympathetic toward Claire. It's like she's the director of Jurassic World. She obviously also had a hand in the development of the entire theme park. So during that time, she probably had to oversee everything. And I'm sorry, she's dealing with dinosaurs, regardless of what precaution stuff you take. That's a highly dangerous environment. You have to be focused on that at all times. One slip up and you're basically food. So I can completely understand why she'd have to be in her own little bubble. It's so she could keep herself safe and her employees safe, and also to keep the business side of it intact, of keeping everything on schedule and on and on budget and stuff like that, and then all the high stress and pressure from her employer saying you must do this or you must do that or you must not spend this money or you could only spend this much money. I could imagine just to keep herself sane, she had to stay in her own bubble, and she would have to be highly focused. And that's why she's good at her job. That's probably why she was hired, is because she's so hyper focused. And I understand they were going for the hyper focused character to the point of being too focused, and it worked for her character. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know. It just felt like the sister was being a little bit selfish and not understanding or sympathizing with and maybe she didn't know 100% what her sister did, but she knew enough to know, oh, she runs Jurassic World, therefore I'm going to send my kids to Jurassic World where she is to spend time with her. Like, I'm sure she knew to a degree what her sister did, but it's like, cut your sister some slack. It's not like she hates the kids. And having been that hyper-focused for so long, like you said, it's been 7 years. After maybe about year 5, she probably wasn't realizing it because she got into a zone that made her highly efficient at her job and allowed her to keep her employment.
Yeah, except for, I was going to say, I'd agree with all of that if it hadn't been for the fact Chris Pratt's character mentioned the fact they'd gone on multiple dates in the past. Which means she's dating, she has free times and stuff like that. She doesn't even think to just phone and speak to the kids.
True.
I mean, I have, obviously, like have a niece and nephew. I would not give 7 fucking years without at least phoning them or speaking to them.
True.
Which means she was a little selfish. But like I said, it works because every character's 3-dimensional. You can make a case for all of them.
Yes, and that's another strength of this movie is that, like you just said, every main character was 3-dimensional, and you can't say that about any of the other Jurassic Park movies. Not even the first one.
I thought the first one was.
Not all the characters.
Well, I meant all the main ones.
Not really. The kids kind of weren't 3-dimensional.
They kind of were. For the time, they kind of were 3-dimensional. They were just kids that enjoyed the stuff like that. And you saw like the kid teaching Dr. Grannon opened up to it. There's a difference between being annoying and being 2-dimensional. The kids in the first film did have some sort of dimensions to them. The only ones that didn't in the third one were like the side characters, which I'd argue it's the same with this. Like Mr. I'm a general, therefore I'm always going to do the wrong thing because militaries need their weapons. Because we haven't seen that in a film before.
Yeah. Oh, you have to admit that works for a Jurassic Park plot of let's militarize the dinosaurs.
It does until you get to the convoluted shit at the end.
Yes.
Where the doctor made the hybrid knowing it'd get out, so he'd have some sort of method to take all of the research and also all the stuff they learned from the raptors and use them as military. It's like, what? No. That's like Batman planning. No.
Yeah, basically. Okay, so basically they create this hybrid. They have it in a pen, and it's the Indominus Rex. It's a white T-Rex, spoiler, part raptor hybrid, among other things.
Multiple animals that like
multiple animals, yeah. He cloak and whatnot, well, chameleon style cloaking and whatnot. And it lays a trap and gets out, and Claire has to turn to Star-Lord over there for help,
which
who
I have
is
to
an animal
say,
handler, former
how does
Navy, I
that
think.
work?
What do you mean?
How does the chameleon style cloaking work?
Well, from what I understand, the reason why I call it chameleon style is because it works like a chameleon, where
Yeah,
the skin will camouflage with its surroundings so you can't see it.
it does. And if you notice, like in the jungle and stuff like that, with chameleons and reptiles that do that, they'll stay on like a green leaf and they'll just take the green of the leaf so they blend in with that.
Mm-hmm.
What they don't do is be 50 foot tall, surrounded by multiple different shapes and colors, and go
True.
predator mode.
Good point. Good point. I don't know.
I'm
Maybe
like,
it was a genetic mutation, since it also had the ability to control its body temperature. So maybe it had a mutated form of the cloak that literally allowed it to cloak itself. I don't know. It's Jurassic Park
it's Jurassic World.
world.
I
But
like the idea that he has a solid snake box.
pretty much. But yeah, so he gets out. Chris Pratt character over there helps him out while trying to show Claire, he's not a bad guy, and to get Claire to kind of open up and realize her feelings, as she does when the kids are, out in the park after the announcement came out of, everybody come back to the center because shit is fucking up and you're gonna die. And the kids are like, no, we'll be fine. Or one of them, I think it's the older one's like, no, we'll be fine. Let's just keep going. Or it was one, I think it was the older one, wasn't it? Or was it the younger one that said that?
It was the older one where he's like, come on, you just need to see the full exhibit. That's because to him, what they were told, because they were told to say it in a way that didn't make him panic, was he was told, okay, time's up, please bring the gyrosphere back. So he doesn't really know it's a problem. As far as he's concerned, it's just like the mandatory, the ride's coming to an end now. And I will say that was a character that was pretty cool as well, the older brother.
Yeah, all the characters are cool, but
just because he spent most of the film at the beginning just not caring and just being all shut off and stuff like a proper teenager.
Yeah.
But when push came to shove, he was really fucking great with that little brother.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's a great character arc for him, of showing that he loves his little brother and he'll do anything for him. And they have a great bond, which you don't see at the beginning, but it's there and you see it later on. Like the part I was talking about when they're in the little ball thing and they decide to go off and they start getting hunted by the Indominus Rex. They actually wander off into the forest and come across the old visitor center from Jurassic Park, which I have to say bullshit, because that's not where the visitor center was. But that's neither here nor there.
In the game, that wasn't where the visitor center was.
I'm fairly certain in the movie it wasn't that far into the island either.
If you remember, they landed like near the middle of the island on that helipad thing, and then they got escorted by cars all the way through the island to the visitor center.
True.
Which means I'm pretty sure it was there. They've just rebuilt around it.
Yeah. Although the other thing I have to say is, because when they walk in, they see on the ground that banner that comes down at the end of Jurassic Park 1 with the T-Rexes, when dinosaurs roam the earth. It's there. So it's supposed to be the visitor center. I have to say, if that's supposed to be the visitor center, why are there two cars in the middle of it? Last I checked, you couldn't get any cars in the visitor center.
My guess is they probably stored them there, because if you notice, they even left that down from the end of the first film. After the island was seen as dangerous, chances are they would have packed stuff up and and put all the stuff in there, because all the cars logically had some sort of manual release, because
yes,
we saw Dr. Grant use them.
Yes,
so it stands to reason to just put them in the middle to hide them out the way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but Jurassic Park had its own garages and shit for all its vehicles. I think they even showed that in the movie. That's why I was a little scratching my head when I was like, wait, they just found a couple of broken down Jeeps in the middle of the visitor center? That's kind of weird.
It had some, but there was also like the ones that broke and stuff like that. And it's also a case of if they're cleaning up, they probably just shoved them out the way as fast as possible.
True. I love that the younger brother finds a pair of those night vision goggles and they still work. But then I scratched my head because I'm like, wait, you just found a pair of working night vision goggles. Fucking take them with you.
Wasn't night.
No, but in the facility it was all dark. He could have used it to see around in the dark instead of, oh, I don't know, caveman boy over there creating a torch out of a bone in that thing. It's like, I could create a torch, or I could use functioning night vision goggles.
Yeah. I will say I was surprised by Chris Pratt's character though.
No?
Well, I thought just because obviously with Guardians of the Galaxy and his fame and stuff, I thought they were going to try and make him super likable. You know what I mean? Like he was just going to be the every guy types. But he wasn't. He was actually closer to Dr. Grant in the first film, just with a little bit of a nicer edge to him, and that works because he was Navy trained. A lot of times he was telling people to just get the fuck away from him, and let him do his shit. And I'm like, that's cool. I like that because it worked, and the character felt really good.
Yeah, Chris Pratt did a great job with the character and the writing. Like the writing overall just was phenomenal with all the characters, the development, and every character felt useful, which you don't get that with really any of the Jurassic Parks, where all the characters feel useful.
First,
nope. Like the little kid, no, the boy was not that useful. Not compared to the boy in this movie.
The little boy was useful because he helped to talk. He helped with the night vision, and he also helped them basically learn a few things and keep his sister company, and how obviously keep Dr. Grant company and stuff like that. And he was pretty useful. He knew about dinosaurs and various other stuff. The kids in this one are more hands-on, but the kids in the other ones were still useful. They were just more book smart.
See, I never got the sense that, was it Timmy, the younger, the brother? I never got the sense. I got the sense he liked dinosaurs and he read things about them, but I never got the sense he actually knew a lot about them. Not like the younger brother in Jurassic World, who so into dinosaurs that when he walked into Jurassic World was like, whoa, I'm in a theme park with dinosaurs, and instantly knew like what all the different dinosaurs and stuff was because he had read them in books because he was so into dinosaurs. He had read books about them and probably read stuff on the internet and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I said,
the kid actually felt intelligent and felt like a proper super fan of dinosaurs to me.
Yeah, but he felt like a fan now. The kid in the 90s, when there's less knowledge at your disposal and stuff, as well as that, when they were in the trees, he was constantly saying what the dinosaurs were, and he also had that discussion with obviously Dr. Grant of whether or not that theory of dinosaurs being birds was actually a real theory or whether or not it wasn't. Like he'd made up his own mind based on evidence, and you know what I mean? That's actually really intelligent. It's just the fact in the first film, a lot of people find the kids annoying, so people just write them off. They actually had loads of good scenes. I mean, hell, in the first film, the little boy got himself electrocuted.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, trying to be hands-on and actually doing stuff really physical. Like the boy in this one, the little boy in this one had his brother constantly watching out for him and keeping him out of the danger. Therefore, the little one never really felt in danger, unless it was when everyone was. If that makes sense.
Right. Just fair enough, and it worked. But yeah. So they find that they use the Jeep. They fixed the Jeep, and this is the moment I loved, where it showed the relationship between the brothers, because the older brother turns to the younger one and is like, hey, do you remember when we used to fix cars? Is it either like their uncle's place or like their grandfather's place, something? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, let's get to work. And it's like, that I was just like, wow, that's character depth right there. And that on multiple levels, it's character depth in that they have a skill set that you don't know about, but they also have a relationship that you don't know about that they're exploring both at the same time. And in a great way. And they work together, fix the car, and drive the hell out. And I'm like, that's such one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. That's such a great scene. I don't know what you thought about that scene, Mole. I guess he's AFK for a sec. Very well. So yeah,
I was speaking.
Oh, there you are.
Oh yeah, I was speaking. I said that scene was very convenient. I'll give it that. Of no knowledge or anything like that. Then obviously storytelling 101, instead of showing too much, they just mentioned we had a relationship building a car. Then yeah, they sort of built a car, but most of it was off screen.
Well, it's not. I don't think they built the car as much as they repaired the one that was there.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant by repairing and stuff. Like when Chris Pratt's character shows up, it's like, how did they do that? It's a good question. We never saw him do it. We just saw him move the items. And I'm like, it's convenient. You know what I mean? It's like it's telling, not showing, which. But it worked for what I needed to. It worked. It just could have been a lot better.
Yeah, but I still thought it was a great scene between the brothers, even if the repairing of the car thing was a little convenient, which it was. I just love that you got a scene like that to show a relationship between the brothers. And yeah, when you can, you do want to show, but I could also understand for because of time. You know, oftentimes telling is far more effective than showing, just to keep the time under. Because, you know, they have a time limit that they can't go above for a movie usually.
Yeah, they can, but I would also make the case that we then need all the CGI bird scenes.
Yeah.
Couldn't some of those have been cut down for just like a brief scene of them actually doing the physical work a bit more?
True. I can agree with that. But yeah, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, who did a phenomenal job in this movie as Claire, they're off looking for the kids.
See, those two had my two favorite scenes.
Oh?
Not together, although one of them was. I loved when she went all action girl, and he's like, I don't get what this is trying to prove.
Oh, yeah.
And if you notice her outfit when she ties it and goes all action girl, it matches almost perfectly to how the girl in the first film's outfit was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of funny. My second favorite one, just because it's really funny, is the whole thing of Echo, Delta, Charlie. Oh, that's Blue. He's the Bravo. Oh, then who's the Alpha? You're looking at him. And I'm like, that's the only reason you've named them this. So people will ask you, where's the Alpha? And you could just say, you're looking at him.
Well, that, and he's military, so I imagine he named him that, so it'd be easier for him to order them around.
Yeah, but you'd think he'd also name one Alpha.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Purposely not naming one Alpha so he could say that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I got the names. But Blue
also,
should have been named Bravo. But some people said, but he did have a blue streak going down him, so it worked.
Yeah. Although if he's trying to establish himself as the Alpha, he won't want to go around calling one of the Raptors Alpha. Yeah, I mean, not that they can really understand him, but still.
Yeah, they can't really understand. They can't understand him, and it's just for the purposes of him being able to name them, so they come to him.
Yeah, true. Another scene I really, really liked, which was, I'm trying to remember if it was before. I think it was after they find the Jurassic Park visitor center, and it's when Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are trying to track the kids down, tracking the Indominus Rex who's tracking the kids, and they come across the field, and it's full of like dead like Brachiosauruses and Apatosauruses.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I'm sitting here thinking, holy shit, they just wholesale slaughtered a bunch of dinosaurs. Okay, this is kind of getting real now. But the scene that I love is when they get out and Chris Pratt walks up to the closest Brachiosaur, and it's kind of still breathing a little bit, but you know it's dying, and he's like looking at it, and he puts his hand on it and is trying to see how, you know, if it's going to survive or not. And she just walks up and also places her hand on it, and you just see her weep for the dinosaurs. I'm like, that is such a powerful scene.
Yeah, that
And it
was
was
cool.
well.
That was a cool scene. I like that. It's so like that reminded me of the scenes on the first one, like the woman with the Triceratops in pain and stuff, and obviously when they were petting the what do you call it, the Brachiosaurus, and when it was in the trees and stuff. Which
Hmm.
every time those are always awesome.
Yeah. Now, this kind of brings me to one of the larger issues I had with this movie, and that's the CG. Well, CG slash. I think they use some animatronics, but I don't think they used enough. I don't know how much they used, but it didn't feel like they used enough because too often the dinosaurs didn't look right, especially the T Rex at the end. Yes, folks, there
There,
is a T Rex.
there might be a reason for that though.
Oh,
If you've seen 1, 2, and 3,
yes.
the T Rex changes its look each time.
Yeah, I think this is supposed to be the T Rex from the first movie, though, because it's got that scar from the
No,
raptor biting it on the back.
no, it doesn't change. They don't change the look of the T Rex, so it's a different T Rex. What they do
Mm.
each film, same thing with some of the science facts, is they slightly retcon them because as science evolves, what we know a T Rex looks like now is different to what we know a T Rex looked like in the 90s.
Ah,
So they try to match it up a bit better. Like the raptors are a different height in this film.
yes. The raptors were cool. I don't know, it's just with the T Rex, it's the one thing about the T Rex for me that made me go, I don't like that. It doesn't look right. And that was the face. The face didn't look like a T Rex. It didn't look quite right to me. The rest of it was fine. But the face, I saw that face and I'm like, what did they do to its face?
Mm-hmm.
That looks fucking ugly.
And I still say with the dinosaurs, one of my favorite scene, which I just wanted to mention in the review.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna call it a pterodactyl. I don't care if it's a different one. It's a winged one. It'll be pterodactyl. When
Mm-hmm.
it flies down, picks up the baby triceratops, and it's too fat, so it falls down.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just makes me. That just made me giggle. So that woman's deaf with the birds, but
That was just
which
unnecessary.
that was just awesome.
Yeah, it was.
But I will say that's a scene I liked with the brothers, which was a smaller one.
What was that?
When they were essentially watching Willy.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they were watching the water show and you see the older boy still being bored and just being like, I don't want to be here. Then
Mm-hmm.
and the younger one's like, just look. And then when it happens, he's like, whoa. And it's like that's the problem with a lot of teenagers and stuff now, is they'll just be like looking down at like their phones or something, and be like, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. But when they actually look, it's like, whoa. Like you get those scenes, you get those moments. Like even as an adult, I went onto the Jurassic Park ride in Universal Studios,
Mm-hmm.
and every single time a dinosaur appeared, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Which it's cool to just get lost in the moment with those stuff. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Whether the younger boys just showing them, look, just pay attention. You're near the dinosaur.
Yeah. I do have to say that water attraction has to be my favorite part of the entire park. Just because after the dinosaur comes out and splashes them, they're like, now hang on to your seats, and the entire fucking stadium lowers. I'm like, whoa, what the shit?
And you jump. I believe they
And it
have something.
lowers so you can. They might, but I wasn't expecting that. You just hear ka-choom, 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 and you just see the seats go down. I was like, that's fucking awesome. So they could see the dinosaur from underwater. I'm like, that's amazing. But then you see all this amazing technology, stuff like that. And then I have to facepalm because
Gyrospheres.
what's that?
Gyrospheres. I want one.
Yeah. Yeah, because you get to the gyrosphere part, all this amazing technology with the gyrosphere and everything, yet the one thing they can't implement, which is technology that exists today of recall technology. You have nothing that automatically recalls the fucking gyrosphere. It's like, really? In a park full of dinosaurs, you don't have an automatic recall. The hell is wrong with you?
I assume they do.
They never thought to use it.
Did you not notice what the boys did? The second they decided to go off road, he basically pressed the buttons and put it into manual and drove it himself.
Yeah, but wouldn't the recall be an override to that?
No, because in a lot of stuff that has recoil, if you've got manual and someone sets it into manual, it overrides that in case of computer error.
Ah.
And I still want one of those gyrospheres.
Yeah. Which, that'd be fair enough, except not once did they say, use the recall, and then try to use it and be like, he has an manual override. No, they didn't do that at all, which makes me question, did they even install an auto recall in that thing? Or are they that stupid that they didn't think, let's try the auto recall?
Yeah, but I would make the case just because they didn't show that one, or just because they didn't tell you that one. Like we mentioned, show, don't tell. They showed him swap it into manual.
They did.
Which that normally overwrites that stuff.
They did. I don't know. I guess at the very least, I would have expected them to at least attempt it, or at least throw that out as a, have Claire throw it as recall them right now.
She did mention to bring them back, and she was like, "Can we not bring them back?" And like, we can't. They've gone off track on their own when they were tracking them and stuff. Which I assume that's what that was for.
Ah. I don't know, it just felt weird that there was nothing put in place for that. But aside from that, yeah, the gyrosphere is awesome. And I love that they did one thing I didn't expect them to do, because they kept mentioning how, the plexiglass on it or whatever can withstand a 50 caliber bullet, yada, yada, yada. But as I keep maintaining in video game stuff, and like when I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with like Jim and stuff, because he keeps mentioning how my armored Kuruma is bulletproof. I'm like, yes, but bulletproof does not equal smash proof, which they actually use that real world logic in this movie. And I'm like, that's awesome. Because all too often in movies, because, movie logic, a lot of times, especially in older action movies, bulletproof equals smash proof. And it's like, that's not how it works in real life.
Yes and no.
Well, it depends on what material it is, but something like the gyrosphere, I would have to say, yeah, just because it can deflect a bullet doesn't mean if like a 10-ton dinosaur steps on it, it's going to stay in one piece.
No, but the way it did it was it gripped it with its mouth.
Yeah.
Which are loads of small teeth. The way bulletproof works is small penetrations are basically stopped from being used. That's why you can do it with bigger stuff, with some stuff, but with it, it's a case of it was using the smaller teeth and it still cracked and it broke it with its mouth. And I'm like, don't think I should have done that.
It's possible. With the amount of force that well, it's not a T-Rex, and Indominus Rex's jaw would be able to push down on it, combined with, and this is something that's taught in martial arts too, is combined with striking the same point with high force. It doesn't matter what it is, unless it's like adamantium, you're going to penetrate it eventually. If you just keep hitting the same spot over and over and over again, you're going to have enough pressure that you're going to punch through it. And that's kind of what that Indominus Rex did, is he kept biting down on it and eventually punctured it, but realized it didn't have enough force to actually crack the whole thing open. So he picked up and just started smashing it, and with the repeated force, it burst it like an egg, basically.
Well, sort of, although military stuff teaches you about the fact it's designed technology-wise for the smaller little things. Like,
yes,
you can shoot the bulletproof glass in the exact same part over and over and over and over and over again. It won't go through because it's small.
Mm-hmm.
You need something big that will go through. That's why they make those like armor-piercing rounds, which are like bigger bullets. Which it doesn't matter if you keep striking the same spot with that; it wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, the dinosaur's tooth, the Indominus Rex's tooth, is not the size of a 50 cal bullet. It's fucking massive.
It's longer, yeah, but it's sharper. It's small and sharp too.
True. I don't know. I think it worked. But I don't know. I just like that they did. They're just like smash, 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 smash.
I was like, oh god, it Goldberg.
Ha! But yeah, they finally get the kids back. They go back, and evil guy played by Vincent D'Onofrio, who I didn't realize that was Vincent D'Onofrio until after the movie. And he did a great job. Kind of your cookie cutter bad guy in a way, like the way he portrayed him. But he's a guy who wanted to weaponize everything, and he basically ends up taking over after the CEO guy, who's also a pilot in training, goes out as the pilot to try to contain the Indominus Rex. Then they install like a chain gun on the helicopter, and they go flying out there, and he ends up dying in the aviary.
Yep, which that's something this film does.
What's that?
It does cruel and coincidental or ironic deaths. It does a lot of them, a few of them. If you think back, like, oh, he spent the whole film be like, oh, don't worry, I'm not gonna crash this thing. I'm not gonna crash this thing. Bird going to the window. He finally gets his license. Boom, dies.
Yeah.
The woman who wasn't paying attention to the kids, the babysitter who also wasn't, the one they left in that water park when they snuck out. Yeah, where did she die and what was she eaten by?
Yeah, true. I love the CEO guy though, because he was a total badass. Because he's all like, what the fuck have you done? No, that's fucking bullshit. You are not taking over this park. This is my park. And then, sir, shouldn't we wait for like instructor to get back to get a proper pilot? And he goes, you don't need any other pilot. I'm like, ooh, this guy's a badass. He's like, fuck this. This is my park. I'm going to take care of the situation because I can. Yeah, he died, but I was just like, okay, I like you. You're awesome.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't like that other guy though.
What's that?
Generic bad guy.
Fair enough.
He could have played that role so much more subtly.
He could have, but that was probably the direction he got.
I doubt it, because if the direction was actually good on the rest of it. I doubt they were like, okay, we want everything in this film to be directed really well, okay, except for you. Make yourself obviously a villain from the get-go. And even when you're saying stuff it's meant to be nice, say it in a way that makes it clear you're the villain. Because our audience is stupid. I don't think they would have done that. I think the actor fucked up.
Well, then, given who directed this movie, I'm surprised he didn't go back and ask him to redo and be like, can you be a little more subtle with that? Because I don't think Spielberg would take fuck up.
Did you not see Indiana Jones 4?
Yeah, well.
Did you not see when he digitally inserted walkie-talkies instead of guns?
True.
I like Spielberg. He's probably my favorite director. However, he's also made some fuck-ups. Example, like I mentioned, Indiana Jones 4, or the fucking horrible film that was Hook.
I'm just saying, if the rest of the film was this good and he directed the rest of the film right, I just find it hard to believe that he'd be like, I don't care about the villain.
Like I said, I find it hard to believe it the other way of he actually told the guy to be that obvious and as subtle as a fucking brick. It stands more reason if he didn't want to delay the film and cost everyone loads of money having to bring all the actors back for when he reshot his lines. Or was probably more like, it's good enough.
Fair enough. The guy takes it over, and he has this brilliant idea of using the Raptors, of which he has zero control over because Chris Pratt's the guy who, has a relationship with the Raptors. It's like, let's use the Raptors to try to take on some genetically engineered T-Rex hybrid. Oh, yeah, that's really smart. Did you not see what happened in Jurassic Park 1 when a team of Raptors tried to take out a T-Rex? The T-Rex fucked them up! And now you're giving us something more powerful than a T-Rex and expecting a pack of Raptors to take it out? You're a fucking moron.
Actually, we don't know who won that fight.
Well, given the T-Rex is still alive, I'm going to go with the T-Rex.
but we don't know if the raptors are still alive. The end of the film was shot in a way where it was like they escaped as the dinosaurs are fighting and stuff like that. We don't know who actually won that fight. I think it was left up to the audience because a lot of people like the raptors and a lot of people like the T-Rex. Like, well, fuck it.
Well, except the T-Rex got the victory pose at the end.
He did, but then also the raptors were in Jurassic Lost World, and I believe one of them had the markings from the first film.
Ah, fair enough. But yeah, okay. So this is the point at which I was just like, the plot kind of doesn't make sense. The evil plot here, but basically they send out the raptors, and Chris Pratt begrudgingly is like, "All right, I'll do what you ask." And the thing I kind of like about it is what I got is the reason he said, "All right, I'll do it," is because he didn't want anyone else handling the raptors, and he also knew that if anyone else tried to handle the raptors, they'd fucking eat them.
That's literally what they said.
Really? I didn't think he outright said that.
So you said fine, but no one's touching my babies, and he mentions the raptors because he's got a bond with them, and he also mentioned the fact no one else can handle them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because I know he said like, we're gonna do this my way kind of thing, but so they got there, they find the Indominus Rex, who then starts talking to the raptors, and I know some people have said, yeah, and I know some people have said that just by looking at the Indominus Rex, they could tell it was just basically one giant raptor. I honestly couldn't tell. Like it just looked like a big albino T-Rex to me, to be honest.
See, I thought raptor because the claw.
See, I missed that. But
it had the big claws. That's why it Chris Pratt's character was like, has those scratches always been there? And every time you saw the claw, it was more like a raptor claw, which were designed for cutting and damaging stuff.
Fair enough. I must have missed that. But yeah, I just that elicited the biggest facepalm from me because in my head I was like, "You have got to be the stupidest villain ever." First of all, you have this thing created in a lab. You know what goes into it, so you know it's part raptor. Okay, fair enough. You may not know it has the ability to cloak or whatever like that, but I'm sorry. BD Wong's character, the scientist, should fucking know that. He's a geneticist. It's his job to know that stuff. Yeah, and yet he didn't tell like his employer, "Oh, by the way, this thing could probably cloak. You might want to be careful."
There's a reason.
Oh?
They literally explain in the film, that's why I mentioned at the beginning of the review, which I thought was a little convoluted, but it worked. They explained the fact that scientist was in charge of just getting them the results. He didn't have to tell them anything. And he had a contract with the guy who was trying to get the raptors, because like he mentioned, imagine an army of smaller ones of these that could come from anywhere.
True.
Which means those two were in cahoots, and during this big distraction, they took everything and left.
True.
So I think that was the idea of he knew it would be this deadly, but they were planning it for military.
Which is fair enough. But then it's like, okay, so they obviously knew it was part raptor, and Vincent D'Onofrio's big master plan is we're going to stick raptors on a giant raptor. And he was going to do it without Chris Pratt. So, number one, you're going after what's effectively a giant raptor. So you have to know they're going to be able to communicate. And if it's a giant raptor, yeah, it's going to establish itself as the alpha over you, who has almost no control on these raptors. And he was willing to let these things loose without Chris Pratt, which means he would have had zero control. So he thinks these 4 raptors are going to take down this Indominus Rex, which basically stop them by saying, "Yo, I'm one of you. Kill the humans." I'm like, really? You're a fucking moron. It's a giant fucking raptor. Your raptors aren't going to do anything to it because it's just going to tell them to stop, which is exactly what it did. And I was like, oh, you're an idiot.
I also have to wonder, how could the Indominus Rex talk to the raptors?
Well, I'm assuming the logic, and probably flimsy logic, but the logic of it is because it's part raptor, it can speak the language. and has that
Yeah.
connection with the raptors.
Yeah, but as they mentioned, it's been raised in captivity on its own. How the fuck would it know how to speak raptor? I don't mean like it needs to pull out a phrase book or anything like that, but it's like with humans.
Mhm.
If you take a human and you put him in
Yeah,
captivity his entire life with no one talking to him, he's not going to be able to speak to people.
that's true.
Plus, it's a mixture of different races too. Logically, it would have different voices and stuff.
True.
But I'll let it go for the sole purpose we got a heroic running slow motion scene for a rap.
Yeah.
And I will admit, I giggled and went, because I'll admit, when I
Yeah, that
watched
was.
Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3, the Raptors were always my favorites. I loved the Raptors.
Yeah, the raptors were awesome. But yeah, I was just like, "Ah, you're an idiot." I mean, okay, despite the fact that you are correct, bred in captivity, you shouldn't have been able to speak at all. But still, it's like your brilliant plan is to send a pack of raptors after a giant raptor. Yeah, you're a dumbass.
I'm thinking it was because it was like a military test. Like when they send soldiers after other soldiers sometimes for tests.
Mm-hmm.
Because if this Indominus Rex had easily been subdued by regular raptors working together as a unit, it clearly means the Indominus Rex needs more work.
True. The other thing, though, that just made me go, you're an idiot, is okay, we don't know how long, but I have to assume that basically Chris Pratt and Vincent D'Onofrio had been working with these Raptors for years, because Chris Pratt would have had to have built up that, and he even said, I think, in the movie that he built up the relationship from when they were like
He did.
kids or babies. So he's been working on it for years.
They were
So
imprinted from the egg.
okay, for me. So yes, okay, so a lot of years.
Yeah, from when they
So
had.
that means Vincent D'Onofrio is really this retarded then, because it's like, having worked with Chris Pratt that long, you would think he would know that these things operate on a pack mentality. That's how Chris Pratt's able to actually communicate with them a little bit, and why they have that relationship, because like you said, he stated he's the alpha. He's got that alpha, that pack mentality. So
He's a
what
Jurassic
make
villain.
what's that?
But he's a Jurassic villain.
I know, but still, what makes him think, if these things operate on a pack mentality, that they're going to view fat, overweight Vincent D'Onofrio as an alpha over the Indominus Rex?
Hey, the reason I say he's a Jurassic villain, do you not remember the guy who stole all the stuff in the first film?
Yeah, but I think Vincent
And
D'Onofrio's character.
how he died and stuff, and when he was going down and stuff? Idiot. The villain in the second film? Idiot. The villain in the third film? Idiot. They're always idiots because they underestimate the dinosaurs, and it's always their undoing.
Yeah, which is fair enough. But the difference is, I can buy them underestimating the dinosaurs because of what they do or their lack of actual experience with the dinosaurs. But this guy's the head of security for Jurassic fucking World. He has no excuse. He should know that shit inside and out, especially since he basically spends all that time with the Raptors and Chris Pratt. He should know they operate on a pack mentality.
He doesn't spend much time with them. Because literally during this, Chris Pratt's been able to train the Raptors and stuff, and right after that scene where he saves the guy and rolls underneath and stuff, totally not Steven Spielberg, getting ready for the Indiana Jones reboot with Chris Pratt. Just saying. Basically, when it comes, come on, his character's basically Indiana Jones.
Yes, he is.
But basically, at the end, when it was second he got out, the guy even says to him, "Whoa, you've done some nice work here with these raptors." And Chris Pratt explains to him how he's trained them. It sounded like they've never spoke before. It's like this dude's just been employed, and like he's doing it for evil military uses. Which I'm sorry, if you're in the military, you don't come across dinosaurs often.
True. I don't know. I kind of got the feeling they had worked together just because of what what takes place afterwards, when he's trying to sell Chris Pratt on the militarization of the dinosaurs, and Chris Pratt's like, "Dude, I already told you no. Fuck the hell off." So it basically it sounded like he had tried to do it before, and he's been trying to get Chris Pratt on board, and every time he's just said no. So
he did in the scene before. Like I said, once he rolled underneath, and he spoke to him when the dude introduced him to him, almost the first thing out of his mouth is, "Let's militarize this."
Yeah, and to which he said, "I know what you want." No.
To which he said, "I know what you're trying to do." No, and then it was the next scene when he's like, "I've already told you once." No.
But I mean, even with that first scene, I don't know, and maybe it's just only a feeling that only I got, but I just kind of got the feeling that he had tried to do it before because he knew Chris Pratt was working with these Raptors and stuff, and he had worked with him before, but maybe not.
Fair enough.
But I don't know. I was just like, you have, it's kind of a basic concept and kind of a concept that's kind of been done to death of let's militarize this or that. But at the same time, it's an interesting concept for a Jurassic movie, and you have a good actor as the villain, and it's like you're gonna make him this dumb? Seriously? Like you said, Dennis Nedry from the first one, like all the stuff that happened at the park was not his intention. His intention was just to get rid of some of the security so he could get away. The unintentional side effect of that is he shut down security on the entire park and let all the dinosaurs loose.
He also knew about that.
Did he?
He set up a computer virus that kept doing the ha at him.
Mm-hmm.
And when the dude mentioned it, he's like, "We're going to make you rich with this because in the process of stealing theirs, you'll be ruining that park. It will tear itself apart."
Fair enough. Must miss that part of the first movie.
Right, but he worked there for a while, and he sees the spitters, and he doesn't cover his eyes. He's just like, "Oh, hey."
Yeah, well, probably because he worked mostly in the computer center. He probably didn't work much with the dinosaurs themselves directly.
Possibly.
I also have to say, how stupid is it that they basically hand the security of the entire park over to one person? That you're just asking to get butt raped at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not talking about Jurassic World. We're here to talk about Jurassic World. But yes, Vincent D'Onofrio's character, I like the character, but I just, as the plans unfolding, I'm like, God, you're a fucking moron.
He is. He is a moron. But like I said, all the Jurassic Park ones are morons because it's literally science being undone by stupidity. It's always science being undone by stupidity. Like, science can't grow because people keep being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we've covered this one now.
Yeah, so basically you have the, at the end, you have the obligatory T-Rex v Indominus fight, which was fucking awesome. And I didn't know what was coming until she went to the paddock. And I just loved the little kid. He's like, "We need more." And she goes, "What?" He goes, "More what?" And he goes, "Teeth." When he said that, I don't know about you, but my mind flashed immediately to the Mosasaurus that they showed earlier, that fish dinosaur, because that has by far the most teeth in the park.
Mine flashed to the T-Rex. Only because we hadn't seen him yet.
I forgot the T-Rex existed at that point.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's a Jurassic Park film, but we have to have a T-Rex.
True. But I don't know if I was just that immersed into it, or if they did that good of a job, or if I'm just that much of an idiot. But I forgot it even existed until she went out to the paddock. It was like, "Open paddock 9." And he's like, "Are you sure you want to do that? That's kind of insane." And she's like, "Just do it." And it starts to open, and you just hear boom, boom. I'm like, "Oh shit, that's right. They have a T-Rex." I forgot about that.
And I will admit, I was half expecting at some point with that Indominus Rex, with how it's shaped with the spikes and stuff. I know it would be stupid, but just because it's already God-wanted, I kind of expected it to do that. I don't know why. The spitter, I kind of expected to do that. I don't know why.
It's a big blob of spit.
It would have been, but I thought he was going to do it to like the T-Rex or something.
Mm-hmm. I also love that entire ending scene. Like, I love the beginning of it because it's kind of a bookmark for the Raptors from when the earlier, like I said, the Raptors turn on the humans, and then this time Chris Pratt talks down Blue, and the Indominus Rex shows up, and Blue kind of turns around, looks at the T-Rex, looks at the humans, and then it just turns back to the humans, and it's like, yeah, what you gonna do, Whitey? I'm just like, wow, it's actually telling the Indominus Rex to fuck off. That's awesome.
I loved the end of that fight though, when the Indominus Rex is defeated, and the humans are looking up like, oh shit, at the T-Rex, and he just sort of looks down at the raptor and is like, way to go, little buddy, and then just turns and walks off. Like, nope, we were on the same side here. Never before, never again.
Kind of. Well, to me, I kind of got the sense that they were looking up. They're like, okay, we have a T-Rex to deal with now. We're kind of fucked. And the T-Rex and the Raptor kind of look at the humans, and then the T-Rex looks at the Raptor like, so what do you want to do with the humans? And the Raptor just kind of shakes his head like, let him go. And T-Rex is like, okay, and walks off.
Ah, it's like True Blood. The Raptor was screaming, they're my human.
Something like that.
A reference no one's going to get. But still.
Yeah, that was a great moment. And of course, you had the obligatory victory pose of the T-Rex, which was awesome. And then you have the reconciliation at the end at the facility back on the mainland of the family and all that. What's that?
Where they mentioned we have a plan B, and they were like, you do? Yeah, it is now complete. And you just see him putting a cybernetic arm onto Samuel L. Jackson from the first film.
That would be fucking awesome.
As his eyes glow red.
I thought you were about to say you see them start attaching cybernetics to a fully grown dinosaur. Jurassic Park, Dino Riders.
I'm talking about Samuel L. Jackson's character, because technically all they ever found of him was his arm.
Yeah.
And even if it was his arm, they literally just saw a black guy's arm and said his name. I'm not sure if racist.
Well, I would agree if he wasn't like the only black guy on the island.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed in that movie, he was literally the only black guy in the cast.
He was.
But it's kind of not racist if he's the only one there. But yeah, this was a little weird to me. They had the reconciliation, which was fine. You know, they had the parents came out and make sure their kids were okay. But then the sisters reconciled, and I'm like, that was kind of quick. Like, because of how much of a bitch the mother had been the entire movie,
I didn't think she was a bitch.
To just turn around and be like, I'm not even going to mention, why the fuck weren't you keeping an eye on my kids kind of thing? And I understand, okay, sisters, she's probably happy that her sister's alive and well, but at the same time, it's like, I kind of expected at least for a little bit before the full reconciliation of, what the fuck did you do to my kids? Why weren't you watching like you were supposed to? At least something, and then have the reconciliation of, I'm sorry, and I've learned, and she's like, well, all right, I forgive you. See, much more gradual, I think, would have been better. I felt it was a little too quick of fuck it, I forgive you, and I'm like, really? After all that, you just got to forgive her like that?
See, like I said, she wasn't a bitch during that film. It was just what you were reading into it. She just seemed to be the type of woman that cared about her family. Her sister just survived a dinosaur attack. It was probably more joy at the fact her family is alive, because family was clearly important to that character. It would be more out of character if she'd bitched her out for it.
True. I don't know. I guess it just felt a little quick to me. The fact that she did that. But I could see what you're saying, and that's fair enough.
Yeah, I imagine they'll have that conversation afterwards. It's like if you were having an argument with a loved one, and then say they just recently survived like a hostage situation at a bank or something. Yeah. When they come up to you, you're not going to be like, hey, I'm going to start the argument again. You're just going to be like, and hug them, and you're just going to be like, get this over with. You can discuss that another time. It's not the place.
True. Very, very true. I also love how contemporary they made this movie, because one of my favorite lines in the entire movie, aside from the "you're looking at him, kid," was the the first time the brothers meet Owen, when Owen and Claire find them, and he does stuff. I love the younger brother turns to Claire and goes, "Your boyfriend's a badass."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's a great contemporary line.
It is.
I wasn't expecting that to come out of the kid's mouth, and he just glibly is like, "Man, your boyfriend's a badass." I'm like, whoa.
I also love the other part of, "We want to go with you." "Oh, of course you can." "No, we meant with him."
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, there was a lot of good humor moments in there, and it was done well. Like, this movie just overall is a really, really good movie done well. Yeah, it's Jurassic, so it's campy, cheesy fun, but they did try to take it a little more seriously, and I also felt that that this one, to a degree, went a little, I guess, darker maybe than the previous ones, a little more adult, because yeah, in the previous ones you had, dinosaurs killing a person here and there, but like in this one you have the Indominus Rex wholesale murdering like half the fucking island of dinosaurs. I'm like, wow. And it's not
And
like off screen, it's like you see their corpses in the field. I'm like, Jesus. Not to mention the people they killed too, because they as we mentioned, they did kill people and stuff, and it's just like the sheer amount of carnage and like death and stuff in this from the Indominus Rex kind of took me by surprise, given the rating. I was like, wow.
see, I went with the opposite. Since I'm guessing we're doing our final thoughts, I went with the opposite of that. Of, like I had mentioned to I think it was Jim with that. Of, I felt the first one is the most mature. That
Fair
is
enough.
definitely the most adult, because that's the one that teaches you science facts instead of just being cool
True.
CGI. The second one was more actiony, but still tried to do some of the science. The third one tried to be the first, but failed spectacularly. This one didn't seem to try to be like them. It seemed this one was made more for the Avengers audience, whereas the first Jurassic Park was made more for the thinking audience. And that's not an insult to either audience, because I like the Avengers film. It's just this was made for like a summer popcorn film, whereas the other one was made more as like a experience, like, oh my god, type thing.
Yes, that is true. I can agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Like it says it all when the Indominus Rex first time it chases Chris Pratt's character and stuff, for the first time you see it chase someone, they go underneath the cars and it's all the effects of flipping cars and stuff. First one, when you see the T-Rex, which was the big threat in the first one, straight away, it's like, oh shit, you just see the eye and you're like, oh shit, and it adds more suspense. It's like, sort of like I mentioned, like the film Halloween, where the first one always had something in shot and it's beautifully directed. Then the later ones just became about the kills and the like gore and stuff. But the first one is done spectacularly because of suspense.
Yeah. Well, I will say I did feel they did the suspense well with this movie. It's certainly not as intense as the first movie, but then, like you also said, the first movie. See, the first movie also, because of when it was released, also had that awe and wonder, and this is the fourth movie in the franchise, so you kind of not going to get that with this one. But I felt it had.
I disagree. I think Star Wars Episode 4 is a marvelous film.
Ha. But yeah, I felt they did some of the suspense well. Now I saw it in 3D, and I thought it was very good in 3D. You know, they didn't do the pop out. I don't recall ever seeing really any effects that just popped out at you. It was more for depth and immersion, which worked. But I remember when they were in the gyrosphere, and the first time they realized the Indominus Rex is hunting them, and you know it's coming, but you don't know when, and you just hear the foot of the doom. I will admit that scared the bejeebus out of me, and I knew it was coming too. But just because it was quick and it wasn't predictable as to when it was coming, it was just doom. I was like, shit. I was like, oh god, the Indominus Rex is on them.
See, I saw this in 3D IMAX, and it's my first ever 3D IMAX. I will say, like, the sound and stuff did make part of the film and the big screen and stuff. It was like, whoa, with the sounds, like, if the sounds were coming behind the characters, at times they felt like they were behind me.
Yeah, that's what IMAX does. It's got the positional sound. So yeah, I can imagine that being awesome.
It does, and I was like, that's just it just felt awesome during the whole thing. And it's also
It
cool
did.
because the speakers are so loud, it's almost impossible for anyone to talk during it.
True.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because if you need to say something to someone, you still can, but you don't talk as often, which I like that during the film. So everyone's just sat really quiet watching this film, be like, "Oh shit,"
Yeah, pretty
at some
much.
parts.
I would also like to briefly talk about that T-Rex scene where she goes to get the T-Rex out of the paddock, where Claire does, and she pulls the torch and runs with the torch, and then tosses the torch at the Indominus to get the T-Rex to go after him. I've seen a lot of people say, she shouldn't have been able to do that because the T-Rex can run 37 miles an hour,
That's what
whatever.
I said to you.
Yeah, which is true. I would like to point out, Ian Malcolm did it in the first movie, and you're perfectly okay with that.
Yes, I'm also okay with the fact in the first film, T-Rexes could only see in motion. Whereas in the second film onwards, based on scientific research, they included a scene where it sniffed because it had other senses. As time goes on and the science gets better, I want the science to be better in these films like they've previously been established.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair enough, but I don't know. I can excuse that one because obviously they were trying to invoke the Ian Malcolm scene from the first one, and they had several scenes that they tried to invoke from the first one, but like you said, they didn't. They went out of their way to make this not
They did.
a rehash of the first
Yeah,
one.
they did, and they also tried to modernize and stuff. I
Yeah,
feel she should have used the bike.
maybe. Yeah, I
I
could
know
see
it wasn't
that.
nearby, but she should have got on the motorbike and like attached the flare to it, and then she could have like ghosted it so the bike kept going with the flare on towards him.
True.
But yeah, like I said, I didn't hate the scene. I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, he should have caught it by now.
Which is true. It was still an awesome scene. But yeah, I think we've talked enough about Jurassic Park. Our
Well,
listeners can quite clearly tell we love the movie.
I love the movie more than you because, like I keep saying, Jurassic World.
Okay, Jurassic World. Sorry. You're right, Jurassic World. But yes. So, Mole, why don't you go ahead with your final thoughts and your rating?
Like I said, I gave my final thoughts then of, like I said, it's
Mm-hmm.
more like the Avengers style film for the Jurassic Park audience. It's just how cinema's evolved right now to what people are looking for. It works. They adapted it well. It's a great film, and people should check it out. I'd give that a solid buy when it comes out on Blu-ray. I'll be buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you've bought the Jurassic Park 3-disc collection, the newest one, which is the only one worth buying, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that. But it actually has an extra sleeve, so you can insert the fourth film.
Nice.
And the only reason I say, this is slightly off topic, the only reason I say that's the set worth buying if you go to buy the Blu-rays of the first 3 films, Marcus,
Mm-hmm.
buy the 3D Blu-ray box set.
Okay.
Because you get the 3D one, yeah, but you don't need to watch that. You get the 2D version of Jurassic Park 1, then you get 2 and 3, which weren't in 3D. However, with the first film, the first Blu-ray of the film, the quality of the screen had screen tears and it wasn't cleaned up properly and it didn't look right. This one,
Mm-hmm.
they cleaned it up more and they spent more time on it. So even the 2D one looks better than the previous 2D one.
Fair enough.
It's
I will
actually
keep that in
Blu-ray.
mind. The collection. Okay, I will keep that in mind. And I would ask you a follow-up question. Since obviously the DVD Blu-rays aren't out yet, would you recommend people to go see this in theater?
If they wanted to go see it in the theater, yes. The only reason I say that is I don't know, because I know with a lot of people around now is the time where these films are going to start dwindling in numbers because people will want to go see the next big film at least. But I'd recommend going to see this in the cinema. But to be fair, the Blu-ray only comes out in like 3 months, 4 months.
True. Would you recommend 3D?
I like the 3D. I went to see the 3D IMAX, and when this film comes out, I'll be buying it in 3D.
Fair enough. So yeah, like I said, I do love this movie. I feel that in terms of a movie in terms of the technical aspects of it, I think this is a better movie than the original. However, the original has something that this movie could never have, and
Jeff
that,
Goldblum.
well, aside from that, yes. Yeah, Goldblum makes everything better, but that's beside the point. But it just because of when it came out, and partly because of nostalgia goggles for me, just because when it came out, I was like 13, 14 years old, and I was huge into dinosaurs back then. I still love dinosaurs now, but I was really huge into dinosaurs when I was a kid. So going to see that in the theater at 13 years old, you do the math. It's just nothing is going to replicate that experience for me. And I think it had some other factor, as we mentioned during our review. It's a magical movie.
Like I said though, with the first film, it's not about the effects, even though they're all practical, which means like Star Wars Episode 4 holds up a hell of a lot more than Episode 1, which is all mostly CGI. However, that's effects-wise is irregardless at this point. It educates you about the dinosaurs as it's going through, so it's more like you're experiencing this world and being welcomed into it, whereas this one is more like, this shit happens, deal with it, if that makes sense, which is fair enough, because we've already been through the educating period. Right, I do believe Mr. DNA appeared.
Did he?
I saw Mr. DNA.
I must have missed that. When did he appear?
He was on, when they were going through the, not the visit, what this film's version of the visitor center is with all the screens and shit they were walking through. On one of the monitors was Mr. DNA.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, I believe they called it the Innovation Center.
Mr. DNA.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, ironically, you were mentioning the special effects. Ironically, I think the effects in the first Jurassic Park are better than the effects in this one. That might be part of why I prefer the first movie, because I with all the practical effects and stuff, and especially with stuff you had never seen before, I was like, wow, this is amazing.
You can tell this one is a very modern film.
Yes.
Because they even used the Microsoft HoloLens to describe the rafters.
Did they?
It wasn't really the Microsoft HoloLens, but they used that 3D holographic thing that made the spitter head appear that the raptors tried to attack.
Oh, yeah.
At E3, when they showed the HoloLens, it was like 3D Minecraft in a environment.
Touche. It wouldn't surprise me if it was, prototype HoloLens technology, because Microsoft is known for doing that, giving movies prototype technology to put in their movies, so people can be like, we want that technology.
It won't be. With the HoloLens, which is why people think it, and this is going to be a little nerdy, this is why people think it's going to be cheaper than Project Morpheus or Oculus Rift, is because it's not fully virtual reality. Right. Instead, it's more like it's closer to augmented reality. So basically, whoever has that on is the only person who will see that. But if I came into your house, let's say I walked into your house, I was welcomed. I came into your house and I was just breaking in, and you're playing Minecraft on your HoloLens and you're touching all the stuff on the table. All I'm going to see is some old dude sat on his couch poking the air. And as you're Asian, I may sit next to you and try seeing if there's a fly to catch with my chopsticks.
Okay, then.
Boom! Karate Kid reference.
Fair enough. Hey, if you're calling me Mr. Miyagi, I'm okay with that.
I am Molly Johnson.
Yes, you are. But yeah, the effects, like I said in the first one, were better. But in terms of everything else, I felt Jurassic World was the superior movie, because I felt they had more fleshed out characters, better, more 3D characters. None of them were really annoying. They all felt useful. Aside from the villain being an idiot, but like you said, that's kind of a staple in the Jurassic movie, so okay.
For me, with that, rat-wise, I'd say it was a tie.
Fair enough.
Like, I really love John Malcolm.
You mean Ian Malcolm?
I meant John, the old dude.
Oh, John Hammond?
That's it, Hammond. John Hammond. I really liked him.
Jurassic Park?
Yeah, I really liked him, and obviously, R.I.P. to the actor, as I did on Around the Pound and stuff. I did like that actor, but it was just he was a much more I know it's going to sound weird. To me, he was a much more theme park mask, better in charge character. She was more business guy in charge, which is realistic. He was more like what you would put on the front lines. Like when everyone thinks Disney World, you think like Walt Disney's welcoming you into his arms. He's going to hug you, and it's all family friendly. You don't see behind the scenes or people with headsets saying, "Make sure Mickey waves a certain way."
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, the magic is lost. But yeah, which like I said, I liked all the characters. Like honestly, between the two females, I loved both of the two main females. I preferred the first one. She seemed more likable.
Yeah, I was pissed off at what they did with her in the third one, but that's for another discussion.
Yeah, I also preferred Dr. Grant to whatever the hell Chris Pratt's character was called.
Fair enough.
But I think the actor's better.
Yeah.
I mean, I think obviously Dr. Grant's actor was better. I mean, because he is awesome. Right. But like I said, that's why I said like overall it's about tie for me in terms of the acting and stuff, and like I said, for the script, different times and stuff, and they're two very different films.
True. Which is fair enough. I did listen. I thought it was written very well, and I thought it was acted very well, and you know, you had the emotionality at the right scenes. You know, Bryce Dallas Howard again, fucking phenomenal job. She did such a good job. She might have gone a little overboard at the beginning with the whole, you know, corporate lady thing, but it worked for the character. But just on the whole, just like the kids were really, really good actors. Overall, well cast movie and just so good. See, I would recommend if you're a Jurassic fan, go see this movie while it's in the theater. You won't regret it. Go see in 3D. In fact, and I wish I had gone to see the IMAX now because I didn't think about the sound system when I was deciding which version I wanted to see. Yeah, go see it in IMAX with the directional sound. That's probably going to make it awesome.
I only went to see it in IMAX because I was determined to see it in IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to see it in 2D because one of the people I was seeing with normally can't see 3D properly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They didn't have a problem with the IMAX screen, so cool. However, my cinema had a choice of 3D IMAX or 2D non-IMAX. I'm like, oh. Fuck it, I'll go with the 3D IMAX.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah, I wish they'd do more 2D IMAXs. I don't want all of them to be 3D IMAXs, but still.
Yeah. Now, I kind of wish I'd have seen it in IMAX now, just because with the positional audio, it probably would have made me shit my pants even more.
And I will say, for those listening as well, I will say you don't need to have seen 1, 2, and 3 before you see this either. The only reason I'm saying that is because I realize we spent a lot of this talking about the previous ones. I know Anastasia Laserbeam from our channel went to see this, and she's never seen 1, 2, or 3, and she loved the film.
Yeah. Yeah, this film, while it is effectively a proper sequel to the first 3, it is also, in a way, a soft reboot, which means, as Mole just said, you don't have to have seen the previous ones to understand this one. But if you've seen the previous ones, you'll get all the like little references they put in, which is always kind of neat.
Like Mr. DNA?
Yeah, like Mr. DNA. Or like the old Jurassic Park visitor center with the banner and the goggles and stuff.
Yep.
And the T-shirt. But yeah, so yeah, definitely go see it in the theater if you get the chance to. It's more than worth the price of admission. And then, you know, I like Mole, I do plan to get it when it comes out on Blu-ray because, yeah, it's that good. It's awesome. And I'm going to have to get that collector set because that sounds awesome too. So,
cool.
Thank you, Mole, for joining me for this look at Jurassic World.
And a pleasure. And
thank you for any of our listeners out there who've been listening for joining us this look on the Shadow's Maw on Jurassic World. Till next time, I've been your host, Marcus Shadow, here to show you the light. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.